This here is a song. Yes. I want you to sing to the one you love when the time comes. You'll know when the time has come. You won't like it. You won't feel like singing. I want you to remember when the time comes that I told you that singing would help. It will make you look crazy. There's nothing like looking crazy to give you the edge.
It's a song about letting the positive energy flow. It's a song about letting the rich, positive, loving energy between two people flow right down the drain. And watching it go and watching the scum rush in after it and saying, hey, what do you know? There it went. We scrubbed it clean. I'll be damned. So will you. So all the new songs aren't love songs. I mean, they are, but the object of love is methamphetamine. In that way, they're very deeply felt love songs. This is a song about an infinite number of people. That's the nature of these people, is they have a replacement rate usually about 1-to-1. Somebody either gets better or vanishes into the system or the earth and is replaced by somebody who looks exactly like him. It's about Tracy, and Tracy's dead, and it's about Emil, and Emil's dead. It's about Brad, and nobody knows what happened to Brad, and it's about Quinn. And Quinn made it for a long time, and he got hit by a car, and if you were making fun of Brad, I will come out there and paste you one, because Brad was a good dude, and he's gone now, and this is called Steel Smoked Fish.
19 years old, and he's really making a number of bad life decisions. Shows up one day to his psychology class taught by a woman named Kitty Wilkinson, and he looms outside the door in his dark sunglasses and his hat with the lavender band, waiting to ask her a question. And it's not actually the day that he has that class. He can't remember the day that he has that class. So he has to come to school anyway. And she comes out of the classroom and says, "John, what is the problem?" And he says, "Well, I'm having these blackouts and I don't remember when I have class with you, but I feel like if I could remember, that would help me." And she takes him to a hospital and they put him into a room with a bracelet on. And then they stop it, paying attention to him for a minute, and he wanders off and gets on the bus and goes home.
There's people in this room who knew me when I was a child. There's at least one person in this room who knew me when I was a young child who wanted both to embrace the fantastic things in life, the dragons and the unicorns, but was also beginning to adopt a sort of a hard and dangerous shell, which was a pose, right? You learn later when you get into heavy metal that there's no room for posers. Prior to that, if you're struggling to establish any kind of identity, you learn to pose, and to pose very hard indeed. There is a case to be made for posing. When I moved up to Portland, Oregon in 1985, I was a deeply damaged person and I couldn't stand for people to see my eyes, and I wore aviator shades for 9 months. I had intimate relationships with people who never saw my eyes. Most of them are dead now.
And when I was 18, I moved to Portland, and the first present she gave me was a pound of coffee and a cup with a gold unicorn on it. And my first reaction was to go, "Oh, I used to be," and I immediately, the way you do if you ever sneer at your inner child, immediately was convicted. I thought, what are you now? Where are you going? Are you coming back from that place? Or will you get lost? That's what this song is about. It's called Unicorn Tolerance.
I was in Claremont at the beginning of this tour to see some friends. And I do this thing, it's not healthy. I mean, it depends on the house, whether it's healthy or not. But I go to look at the houses I used to live in. And I stand there until one of the neighbors calls the police. No, that's not true. But I do go. And I look. So I went to the house that this whole album is about. Try to get a look at the bedroom window where I used to sit and put on a pair of Nova 30 headphones. Try to get a look at the window that I wanted to show them how angry I was, put my fist through. I was 14. This song is about those times.
This is about how, sometimes in a given summer, you're young and in love, and you think, and you live where you're from, where you grew up, and you have an affection for that place, and you think, it's awesome to be young, and it's awesome to be in love, and it's awesome that we're both here in this town, and it's so nice, and that's what this song is about.
And then when I woke up next to you this morning, I had a feeling that I was reluctant to share with you, because it was violent and horrible. And what could possibly be worse than to share those sorts of feelings with a person on first awakening? It would be cruel. I don't want to be a cruel person, but I feel that you have made me a cruel person. And when I say that I feel that it's you who's made me that person, I don't say that lightly or without considering the subject and the object of that sentence. Dude.
I don't think I've actually ever introduced this song. I usually just do the, and then we start. So this is a song about how if you feel defeated and trodden upon and wasted, not in the good sense of wasted, right? You find some small glimmering that manages to carry you through the next 60 seconds, and then you do that enough times to make an hour, and then you do it enough times to make a day, and you keep right on doing it. At the front of this record was the last song we just played, which is about persevering in a really positive and triumphal way. There's the other side of that where you say, well, I will dig my nails into the side of the cave wall this morning so that tomorrow when I wake up in the same cave, I'll at least see that my fingernails had enough strength left to leave an impression.
This is a song about how you cope with what you got to cope with when you're 16 years old and you're not an abuse survivor yet because you're in the middle of surviving, and it's called From Teaching You Why.
This is a song about I suppose they're all about that in the final analysis. This is a song about knowing that you are not yet free from things and understanding that the day will eventually come.
I look at the sign as a song about people seeing signs where there are none. That's the whole deal with the sign. It's about hallucinating something. But looking at it and understanding that the things that you hallucinate, if they are true for you, are as true as anything in the world. And you are entitled to them. And when people say that you're not, you don't have to listen to them.
Live hard, die young. Yeah, it's a little too late for that. It's easy for you to say. I have news for you. Sometimes it turns out the slogan you didn't know you were living by was live hard, live long. The slogan begins to stretch. Live hard, live long, feel pain, go on. Wake up, keep going, keep going, keep going. Go old, keep going, outlive all friends, last man alive, unending desert, so many stars, limitless, endless stars, a throne standing alone in the desert, and yourself. But this is about none of that business.
This is a song that I wrote, oh man. My therapist had me talking about this. I disclose too much. I have this, the thing about me is I'm not even in the slightest bit afraid of dying. I think, I'm kind of, the kind of music I listen to, I'm into it, right? And what I'm afraid of is living with infirmity forever and ever and ever, which I probably should have thought about back when speed was cheap and there was so much of it in Portland, right? Back when, here goes my day job forever, back when I was sharing needles in bathhouses, I should have thought about how long I was going to want to live, because the members of my family live for appallingly long times. We're going to be very, very old, and I always imagine my grandfather pushing 90 going, God, this sucks, why can't everyone of these guys who dies young or something?
But the saddest Mountain Goat songs are not the ones in which people want to die, because those people know that they will be free. The saddest Mountain Goat songs are the ones where the narrator knows he's not going to die, and that this could conceivably go on for decades after this.
I was on tour in Scandinavia, and as a hypochondriac will from time to time, I became convinced I had cancer. Those of you who don't have hypochondria problems can't relate to this. But statistically, I'm pretty sure there's a few people in this room who know, oh, I know what it's like to have the cancer, and it's in your brain, and you start figuring out how you're going to tell the people you love that you did all the things that were going to give you cancer, and now you have it, and you're going to die before your time, and you'll never write the masterpiece that's really going to make people, help them through hard times, and you're going to fail, and all because of the cancer that you brought upon yourself. When I got to the emergency room in Stockholm, from which I was taken directly to the stage by cab, the doctor, wonderful man, weighed about 370 pounds, 6'6", says, they sonogrammed my chest. It was pain all day, and he says, okay, so I looked at the sonogram. Let me ask you a question. He's Swedish. This is my best Swedish accent. I apologize to the Swedes. Can I ask you a question? Are you Lutheran? No, I'm Catholic. It's the same. You have what I call a Lutheran syndrome. You think you must pay now for the things you did. But you are fine. Go play. And so I did. I went directly to the stage. But while I was waiting in the emergency room between checking in and getting seen, I wrote a small song of despair. And this is it. I found it in my notebook about 6 months later. I said, wow, look at your dark mood, John. You should do something with that. To hear that.
This is a Portland song. Yeah. Thank you. Almost died in Portland. Phenomenon I know my fellow drug addicts can relate to of having 3 days that I can't account for. I know they happened, but I was not there consciously for them. I remember I'll tell you this whole story. Not the whole story, that would take a long time. But I will tell you that I emerged as from a very deep but unrestful sleep. I woke up with a hole in my jeans and a scab on my knee. It wasn't a scab yet, but it was forming, and unable to remember what day it was. And I became convinced, in the way you do when you're not healthy, that if I could only remember the date, everything else would sort of collect itself and come clearly into focus. And I went out this is 1986, I went out to the newspaper machine in front of my apartment building, and I looked at the date, and I tried to hold it in my head from the newspaper machine up the stairs to the door, to the elevator, back down to the basement where I lived, and back down to room number 10. But I could not do it. By the time I would get back, it would be gone. And sometime within the next couple hours, I'd go back up, and this behavior persisted for how long, I don't know.
I've been puzzled by the few things that people have to say about this next song, so I'm just going to violate my own policy and tell you explicitly what it's about. And I am telling the truth. Sometimes people say, oh, he lies when he describes his songs. That's not true either. It may seem like a lie now, but give it a couple of years. But this is true, that the fellow who narrates this song is losing his grip on things as they are. He's going insane, as they would put it. And so that's why he feels like he does. He hasn't lost anybody or anything like that. He suffers from a sort of solitude that most of us, thank God, could only really imagine. This is a song about a contract you make with a being with whom you're not supposed to make any contracts. And I don't guess that the thing I'm talking about is true for everybody. I mean, everybody likes to assume universality to their experiences, but of course, that's not actually the deal, right? But especially when you have these dark hours or months or long, long seasons wherein you have difficulty leaving the house, leaving your room, or talking to people you used to know and feeling as though you're actually connecting with them, and you're not even the one trying to make the connection because you've sort of seemed to have moved past that in some unwelcome way. And when they try to talk to you, there's a gulf between you that you couldn't even imagine crossing if the desire or the will were there. And you sort of find a dark place with whom you agree to spend the time you have to spend in exchange for someday having the right to move on.
This
This is a song about how at times you may find yourself in a situation where all the people who want to come and say hi to you strike you as the sort of people you might maybe want to murder if you could get away with it. And you're beginning to suspect that you might be able to get away with it because the math is simple. If everybody who comes to check up on you, you murder, who will be left to come and get you?
This is a song sung by a person who is suffering, and that doesn't come as a big surprise to you in my songs. That you're such a person, but suffering. I'm with you. Yeah, no, I was getting into it for a second there. Anyway, I mean, it's a depressing thing what's going on with the person in the song, but the song is essentially about how when things are very awful, if you are looking for some place to turn and you're not the type of person who can really stand to say, well, maybe tomorrow's better, because you know tomorrow's not better. A lot of people are going to tell you, you don't know that, you don't know about tomorrow, but sometimes, yes, you do. Sometimes you know for a fact it's going to be worse. Maybe if you could go to sleep and wake up, then you could put some faith in that. But if you can't sleep, then you can see tomorrow coming like a fucking train at you.
So there you are with your new friends, listening to King Diamond, as you do. High for 3 days and beginning to talk nonsense, and you may think to yourself, I wish I had a song to sing. You may only hold this thought for a second or so. But I heard you when you thought that. And that's why I wrote you this song.